Part 41. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 402. Li Yuan's hexagram can be regarded as a clear calculation of people's hearts. Many people did not say anything on the surface, but in fact they were policed. After all, if they can't notice it after spending billions, then they don't deserve their current wealth and status. What everyone should do is to keep doing it. Basically, we eat around 5 o'clock, otherwise we won't be able to make it to the meeting that starts at 6 o'clock. You can only eat midnight snacks at 12 o'clock at night, and you can only be hungry for such a long time. At about 5 o'clock, Li Yuan also went home for dinner. Not many young people attended tonight's meeting, so he was the only one who named a few. For example, Hong Ruiting, such as Guyu. Guyu will only participate this time, and she will not be allowed to continue to participate in the future, because there is a high probability that she will not return to the village in the future. Hong Ruiting is pretty good, he is quite satisfied with it in every aspect, and Zhou Fanchu is also quite clever, even he dares to scheme, so he is suitable to be cultivated as a successor. When Li Yuan trains his successor, he doesn't focus on bloodline, but purely on ability. Of course, trust is also very important. He trusts everyone in the village, especially those he brought up. Even if it was Qin Shen, he didn't have the slightest suspicion, otherwise he would dare to make such a joke with him. After Li Yuan had dinner, he secretly told Li Wanhe about the 200 million cash, and Li Wanhe immediately went to the basement to check. Now there is very little gold in Li Wanhe's treasure house, and it has not been as crazy as before in recent years. After all, the price of gold is too high. I just occasionally go to the bank to exchange a little bit, and after a year I can save a lot of it there. Because he realized that it was impossible to save enough to distribute to so many children. Fortunately, I also made some money from the gold I saved before. It's just that the money is now used to buy other things, such as land. They are all abroad, and he can give each child 600,000 acres. Looking at 200 million in cash, he felt confident. He started calling Zhou Wan and Li Jingcheng who were at home to help him move. On the first day of this year, he decided to be tough. No matter whose children come, red envelopes are given out and each person carries a bundle away. 200,000 a bundle. In the entire village, others can strictly follow Li Yuan's requirements and are not allowed to give any pocket money to their children, but these rules will never restrict Li Wanhe, who told him to be Li Yuan's father. As soon as they finished packing, Wen Yuxian came over. He said to Li Wanhe, "Uncle Li, I have to have a meeting later. The two children will stay with you for a while. Please arrange a room for them." This is an old rule, and Li Wanhe is already used to it. But, this year is different. Because the paternity test results from Zhou Wan's side have come out, these two children are Li Yuan's. Looking at the two young men of 15 or 16 years old, the old couple immediately pulled them to the sofa one by one. It was Li Jingcheng who came over and said, "Aunt Wen, don't worry, my grandparents have already arranged the room." Wen Yuxian said, "That's fine. Please Jingcheng, please help me look after the two of them and don't let them run around." "Okay, don't worry." Wen Yuxian left, and she was stuck here. Because it was earlier this year, she didn't even eat dinner. Li Yuan didn't know about his father's plan to distribute money, and even if he knew, he couldn't care about it. The old man is already very good. Ever since I gave him a few shekels, he has never done much trouble in his life. He has never caused him any trouble, and he even helped him once. Li Wanhe is almost 70. No matter how hard it is, Li Yuan can accept it. By the time he got here, everyone who was supposed to come had basically arrived. Some people came back overnight. After all, everyone is very busy and it is common for them to be away from home on weekdays. After waiting for a while, Wen Yuxian also came, and all the people in the meeting had arrived. The entire conference room is in the shape of a mouth, with a total of about 40 people sitting there. On Li Yuan's side, there were only 3 people who did not come to participate: Qin Si, Cao Yuan, and Xu Yanlin. The rest, whether it is Anna Shen, Guo Meng, and Song Jiajia, are all qualified to participate. After all, they all have properties in their names and they cooperate more with each other. Hong Ruiting was actually okay. Although it was his first time to attend the meeting, he had already prepared and knew many things. Guyu was different, she was confused. When had it been her turn to sit in on something like this? She doesn't understand either. When the time came, Gu Dongsheng was the first to speak and said, "Another year has passed before I knew it. This year, our team has remained unchanged. But this is a good thing, because our industry is still expanding, which is enough to prove everyone's gains. It's even bigger. The reason why today's meeting is brought forward is mainly because Li Yuan and others have something to announce, and the entire meeting process needs to be postponed for a while." As soon as Gu Dongsheng finished speaking, there was a knock on the door of the conference room. Li Yuan frowned. Who would come at this time? Hong Ruiting, who was closest to the door, glanced at Li Yuan's eyes and immediately went over to open the door. Zhou Wan walked in. Zhou Wan also knew that the meeting was more important, so she said awkwardly, "How about you guys talk about something else first? I asked Yuxian to go have a meal, but she came all the way and didn't even eat dinner." Li Yuan. When Yuxian stood up and said, "Aunt Zhou, I'm fine." Then he apologized to the people around him. It must have been the 2 children who said this. Li Yuan spoke, "Then you go and have something to eat first. We will do the year-end summary first and make up for it when you come." Zhou Wan smiled and said, "Let's go, hurry up." Wen Yuxian had no choice but to leave the scene temporarily. This little episode fully shows that Li Yuan has principles for everyone, but only for his own parents. Anyway, parents can do whatever they want. He never cared about appearances. Because of this incident, the order of the meeting was disrupted. Gu Dongsheng took over and began to directly report on the situation of Nanshan Group this year. This kind of large group is very stable, basically no different from last year. But the structure is also very large and has connections with various groups present. The bonds they issued through Lakian Capital and Qingtian Capital amounted to trillions, not to mention the direct loans from banks, which basically had business transactions every day. Li Yuan's Althide Bank is basically completely in his own hands. He is currently pursuing stable operations and does not want to steal the customers of the original 4 major banks. Over the years, as the number of employees has increased, the business of Althide Bank has been steadily increasing. As long as he comes up with some good welfare policies, he will definitely cannibalize most of the shares of other banks. He has the confidence and strength. But he also knew that banks were too sensitive and too important, so most of their operations were placed abroad. Althide banks are now developing much faster abroad than in China. Gu Dongsheng reported for half an hour before he finished. Immediately after the others spoke one after another half hour passed before Wen Yuxian came back. After sitting down, I listened quietly. This kind of work report, which used to be the theme of the meeting, would last about 5 or 6 hours. At the end, Li Yuan would give some instructions to the major groups to determine the direction for the new year, and then talk about family matters for a while, and that would be it. This year, because of Wen Yuxian, the originally planned order was disrupted. Gu Dongsheng asked quietly from the side, "Would you like to pause for a while to summarize your work first? Focus on your affairs." Li Yuan shook his head and said, "It's okay. Let's summarize it first. Then in the middle of the night, whoever falls asleep will leave." Gu Dongsheng. Look at what you said, who dares to leave? Even if I'm sleepy as hell, I can't leave tonight. At least the most central figure here is Li Yuan. Before Li Yuan spoke, wouldn't this meeting be in vain? If it weren't for Li Yuan, how could there be such unity among the various groups? Everyone wants to keep their interests in their own hands, and everyone wants to maximize their own interests. Most of the time, Li Yuan is in charge. All major groups must follow Li Yuan's requirements, share risks equally, and cooperate fully. Since Li Yuan is not willing, he can only wait. The summary should be summarized, and the conditions should be mentioned. For example, Ho Wenbin and others wanted some support from Qingtian capital, but Guo Meng did not agree. After Li Yuan heard this, he asked Guo Meng to agree. There are many points of conflict between the group and the group, but everyone treats these things as work and does not get emotional. As long as Li Yuan is alive, no one will be able to get emotional, and no one will be willing to be emotional. Another point is that Li Yuan is younger than them all. Who can survive Li Yuan? It's unrealistic not to think about it. From 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the summary was only half done. On the one hand, major groups have more things going on, and on the other hand, the global economy is not doing well. For them, the impact is huge. The whole thing wasn't over until 12 o'clock at night, and it was already time for supper. The supper was arranged by Zhou Ranran, and she was the one who talked about the matter in the village. Everyone also took advantage of this time to stretch their muscles, and Li Yuan was no exception. He walked up to Hong Ruiting and Gu Yu and said, "Why don't you two eat? Your Aunt Zhou made these glutinous rice balls yourself, so it's an advantage for you." This Aunt Zhou is not that Aunt Zhou. For people of Li Yuan's generation, Aunt Zhou refers to Zhou Wan. For Hong Ruiting and Gu Yu's generation, Aunt Zhou refers to Zhou Ranran. Upon hearing this, Hong Ruiting hurriedly started eating. Gu Yu, on the other hand, had no reaction at all. She kept staring at Li Yuan. Li Yuan smiled and said, "What are you looking at? Miss Jiangshu? Want to find some shadow of Jiangshu in your Uncle Lu?" I thought that after saying this, Gu Yu would be shy, but as if Gu Yu didn't hear it at all, she said, "Uncle Lu, are you Li Yuan?" Li Yuan was stunned for a moment. Damn, I forgot that this girl doesn't know her identity. When the accident happened, this girl was only 9 years old, and she didn't hear her name called much. At that time, he already had the code name Lu Hans Hung. Unlike Hong Ruiting and the others, who were all 12 or 13 at that time, even Zhang Shu and the others were 15 or 16 and knew a lot more. Li Yuan said, "What else? How else could your father, the richest man in the world, listen to me? Otherwise, how could your father talk so loudly and angrily to so many people? He has become the richest man in the world, and his tail has already been raised to the sky. His eyes are, can he still tolerate others? Because he knows that there are many people who are richer than him. Do you really think that he is being modest? He is so modest." Gu Yu. She had a new understanding today. His father's money is not enough to support his status as the world's richest man? It seems that none of the people present today who are not on the rich list are richer than my father. The most important thing is that Li Yuan, who is known as the golden hand of global finance and the person who controls the economic order, is still alive. Or the uncle who raised him since childhood. Opening textbooks related to financial economics, most of them are about Li Yuan, and it is clearly marked that Li Yuan died 9 years ago. She didn't think much about the explosion 9 years ago because there were many people who cared about her afterwards. Now that I think about it, was that explosion aimed at Li Yuan? And well, I was very sad when I lost my toy that day, so I had to pester Uncle Lu to buy it, and then, Uncle Lu didn't take his usual car. As a result, just after leaving the village, the car exploded. That year, Uncle Chen Chi suddenly appeared and became a part-time security driver in the village. Li Yuan looked at the dumbfounded Gu Yu with a smile, feeling very happy in his heart. This girl is definitely his lucky star. As for the incident 9 years ago, he doesn't want to pursue it because it is meaningless. There are many people in the world who want him dead, including many of his own people, because he had too many things in his hands at that time. When consumer credibility collapsed, he was the one who pulled it up. After bearing losses for so many years, it is natural to reap rewards. As for those rewards, some people can no longer afford them or enjoy them. If you reduce your own consumption power and others improve it, you won't be able to afford it. Anyway, from then on, he never left the village and gave no excuses to others. Even though many people knew that he was still alive, his family still insisted on announcing that he was dead. They even spent a lot of money to remove all his photos from the internet, and they are not included in the textbooks. The name is that the family does not allow anyone to use Li Yuan's image rights. Uncle Lu. No, Uncle Li, can you give me an autograph? Gu Yu said seriously. Li Yuan immediately said with a straight face, what the hell are you signing? How many signatures have I signed for you since you were a child? Wasn't that the test report card that I signed for you? But Li Yuan, actually, I've wanted to tell you for a long time, but that guy Jiangshu doesn't agree. He's very sinister, and he's afraid that you'll only like him if you think he's rich, do you understand? Gu Yu immediately said, I don't like him. Li Yuan's eyes lit up, really? If you don't like it, that's great. That guy Jiangshu should be single for the rest of his life. Let's do this. I'll introduce you to a handsome guy as your boyfriend tomorrow, okay? Gu Yu. Forget it. Ha ha ha. It was very clear to Li Yuan how thoughtful this little girl Gu Yu was. He firmly believes that Gu Yu can bring luck to himself and Jiangshu. 40 minutes later, everyone had finished their supper. Li Yuan sat down and said, we've finished eating too. Let's get into the main topic tonight. I originally wanted to talk about money first, but I wanted to wait until everyone gets sleepy. Let's talk about it later. Let me first talk about a project that I have been secretly working on for more than 20 years. By the way, I call this project Spark. End of chapter. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 403. After Li Yuan said that he had been doing this secretly for more than 20 years, the whole audience was shocked. Zhang Yuling is the only insider. And she also knew that Xing Guo was just part of Li Yuan's plan, and it was a plan on the surface. There are more things being done secretly. The 3 people who did not come today have taken on a lot of work in private. She didn't bother to ask for details. She was old and there was no benefit in knowing. Li Yuan would arrange it himself, and she didn't need to worry about the successor. The 2 sons have already been settled, and the daughter Lu Ling is relatively ordinary and can only be used as a foil. Everyone became serious. After all, the reason why tonight's meeting was brought forward was because Li Yuan had something to announce. The so-called spark refers to you and me. Not only those present, but also those who are not present. Over the years, the entire team has indeed been centered on me, but I will eventually grow old and die. But I believe everyone should know what the consequences will be if this team breaks up. Having more money is not necessarily a good thing. Money is just a piece of fat. If there is no strong enough force to protect it, no one will dare to take a bite. No matter how much wealth you have, how many people can you withstand being bitten by? It doesn't even take a lot of bites to tear the entire piece of meat apart. Torn meat has no value. Li Yuan took a sip of water and continued, a century-old dynasty, a 1,000-year-old family, if there is no fire, there is no inheritance or unity. I can die today, but as long as the fire is still there, I will not death in vain. On the contrary, even if I am alive and the fire is gone, then after I die, someone will still dig up my grave. The only purpose of the spark is to expand the fire and expand our ability to bear risks. Even 100 or thousands of years later, the flame we left behind can still find the right time to ignite a raging fire. Each of you has become a big boss in the past few years, and you may think that you have so much money that you won't be able to spend it all in 10 lifetimes, so why bother thinking about the future? After I die, who cares about the flood? Ordinary people can think this way, but if you think this way, you are wrong. Is your wealth personal to you? The ultimate secret of wealth is never to own it, but to use it and distribute it. What's the use of giving you money that you can't spend in 100 lifetimes? If you can't control the situation, sooner or later it will turn into a pile of waste paper. There is no money in the world that can't be spent in 10 lifetimes, and I don't even dare to say that it can't be spent in a lifetime. The only truly inexhaustible wealth in the world is people. Everyone lowered their heads, and Li Yuan spoke very slowly. This is the first time Li Yuan has had in-depth communication with them. Before, they were all about work scheduling. There are more than 40 and 50 people present. Of course, I also called 2 young people in their teens and 20s. Just in time, I will announce the entire Spark system to everyone today. On the one hand, I will let everyone know as I understand it. On the other hand, I don't want any particularly big conflicts to arise internally in the future. Remember, the overall interests are always greater than personal interests. If you can't grasp this, if you can't unite with everyone, then sooner or later you will be bitten. Not even a bone is left. The Spark system is mainly composed of 3 parts. The first is the Elder's House. There are a total of 13 places in the Elder's House, which is mainly responsible for the personnel scheduling of our team. According to the current composition of our team, apart from me, the Chief Elder, there are still 12 places, 3 for each family. When the time comes, apply directly to me. After my death, the number of Chief Elders was automatically abolished, and from now on there were only 12 elders. What the Elders Council has to do is only within the team and does not interfere with the outside world. This must be remembered. The rules are here and no one can change them. Next, Li Yuan began to explain the specific responsibilities of the presbytery. The Council of Elders is the highest decision-making level within the entire team. Conflicts among internal personnel require the Council of Elders to pay attention to mediation at any time. Those who cannot be reconciled must have the courage to make sacrifices. When a certain wasteful thing appears, if it can't be cured, it will be abandoned directly. If it can't be done, rush to the back to raise pigs and send someone to keep an eye on it. They can still find money to hire people. The Elders' Council has the power to make decisions on all matters big and small in the village. The core standards are unity, justice, and mutual assistance. The second part is fire. We need fire, we need countless fires. In order to retain enough fire, we must let future generations enter all walks of life. This part is equally important. Because Li Yuan is not sure how many years the team can remain united after his death. Maybe there will be gaps within the team in 20 or 30 years. As long as you are in this team, no matter how well you study or how strong your ability is, you can find a corresponding position. They don't all need to be business wizards, they can be musicians, actors, painters. He could also be a blue-collar worker, running a food delivery service. They can also be scientists or politicians. There are only about 20 people in Li Yuan's generation. But Zhang Shu's generation already has more than 60 people. The next generation may have more than 200 or more than 300. In the next generation, the number may exceed 1,000. This is what Li Yuan can see. He will most likely not be able to see the 5th generation. The number of that generation may exceed 5,000, and the 6th generation may even exceed 30,000. Within 100 years, their number may exceed 300,000, enough to cover most industries. It doesn't need to be great, It doesn't matter even if it's just ordinary. Everyone has authority within the family. Even if they have ordinary abilities, ordinary looks, and ordinary personalities, the family can still arrange marriages, arrange houses, earn their own living, and receive various gifts during holidays. If you encounter any serious illness or accident, the family will fully cover it. Additional rewards will be given to expand fire starters. The outstanding people here do not need financial help, but can be exchanged for some support from some network resources. For example, if an actor wants to participate in a big movie, or if a scientist wants to research a project, they can get support from within the family. Money and resources, you can only choose one. It is impossible to sponsor both of them unconditionally. When there are more people in the future, the family will not be able to sponsor them. There will be a new department in charge of the entire Tinder system called the Federation. There will be a total of 13 presidents and several vice presidents. The Council of Elders has jurisdiction over the 13 presidents and vice presidents of the Federation, but it does not govern the Tinder project. This is also to prevent the Council of Elders from having too much power. Although the Council of Elders is ultimately the core, the Federation has certain decision-making power. The third part is the education system. The education system is also a very important part. We must tell all future generations the concept of the family. Education is not just about increasing knowledge, but more importantly, it is about teaching people how to behave. Focusing on educating people provides a solid backing for the entire system. There will be only one principal in the first batch, and the number will gradually increase based on the number of people. Even the presbytery has no right to interfere with the education system. The education system stipulates that it is not allowed to give pocket money to children who have not graduated from college. Anyone who dares to give it is violating the rules. The principal has decision-making authority on anything that goes against the entire educational philosophy. Members who have not passed the review of the family education system will not be included in the family genealogy. The funds for these three systems are unrelated to each other. 1% of the profits from external businesses are divided into the three systems every year. The Federation takes 50%, the education takes 30%, and the elders takes 20%. At the same time, Li Yuan also set a rule that those who are not in charge of the Kinyi group are not qualified to become elders. Those who are short-sighted and narrow-minded will deceive others by becoming elders. Those who harm the tribe will be permanently removed from the list. At the end, Li Yuan summed it up: external business is dominated by the helmsman, and the Presbyterian Council has no right to interfere. The helmsman is mainly free to run for election. If we don't have one of our own, let outsiders take the helm. The future of business, I can't tell how it will develop. After saying this, he began to drink tea and let everyone think carefully. Li Yuan only gave a rough outline, and the details will need to be prepared slowly. For example, there will definitely be many small departments under the Presbyterian House. Similarly, other things are also needed. So far, he is leading these three parts, but as the third generation begins to appear, he will definitely be too busy alone. Only those who are over 45 years old are eligible to apply for the presbytery. The president of the federation also needs to be over 40 years old. Li Yuan brought up the concept of family for the first time and regarded the entire team as a family. Even though there were various surnames and origins, they were all one family at this time. The entire system, to put it bluntly, is useless. In today's society, all systems work, and it's very difficult to make money. Moreover, he will also arrange an inspection team in private. Every member of the family will have a chip bracelet. The inspection team will carry special instruments and can know how many people from the family are nearby at any time, and then conduct a sample survey to see if there are relevant benefits. Give enough. If you really want to make money, you have to rely on your own abilities. If you have the ability, start a business, and if you have the ability, strive step by step to become the chairman of Kinyi Group. There is no such thing as airborne in any position. There is no such thing as an heir. Gu Dongsheng did not have the right to designate his son to inherit the position of chairman of Nanshan Group. Gu Dongsheng even did not let his son go to Nanshan Group at all, but to another company. At present, all enterprises are under Li Yuan's control. Li Yuan will set an example for them, and they will just follow this rule in the future. The current equity structure is pretty good. Although Li Yuan has a lot of equity, it will all be divided in the future. Overall, every household is the same. In other words, the first 2 generations can inherit more wealth, but the subsequent generations can hardly inherit any wealth. The real core of wealth lies in Lotus Trust, and all money in the future will be distributed through Lotus Trust. As for Lianhua Trust, Li Yuan will personally select heirs and distribute wealth to the entire family. It may not be his children's generation, it may be his grandchildren's generation. After Li Yuan finished speaking, everyone was silent for a long time. It's not that they don't support Li Yuan's approach, but they are thinking about something deeper. They already fully understood what Li Yuan did. They have always thought that Li Yuan is the god of wealth. There is no money in the world that he cannot make, and they don't even know how rich Li Yuan is. But in fact, Li Yuan didn't think it was great to make money at all. He had been distributing wealth. The distribution of wealth makes him richer and richer. He doesn't even need to do anything in the future, and money will still flow into his pocket. Most people can't do this kind of thing, they don't have the foundation. It just so happens that Li Yuan is there. There is no other person with Li Yuan's strength in the world. And this time the Spark project means that Li Yuan wants to release part of his power. Greedy. Of course I'm greedy. Who wouldn't want to be an elder in such a large system? They used to be superficial. I feel that if I have some money, I have the right to speak. After what Li Yuan said, I realized that money is nothing. Power is the real awesomeness. Participating in the process of distributing wealth is truly awesome. The Presbyterian Church pursues strategizing that will lead to victory thousands of miles away. The Federation pursues the world's top network operations. The education system is the guide for future generations. The overall operation is even more complicated than the previous 2. These are all top-notch mental games, which are much more difficult than running a group. But the coolness is also much greater. Gu Dongsheng thought he had nothing to pursue anymore and could retire peacefully in a few years. Now that I see what Li Yuan has been doing, I have a goal in life again. Moreover, Li Yuan planned very clearly and divided the entire family into 4 parts. Which 4 parts? Part of Li Yuan's direct lineage, part of the aboriginal people in the village, part of the grandchildren of the 13 Taibao, and part of the relationship between classmates. There is no particularly clear boundary between them, but they are very clear. Even though Zhang Yuling is the grandson of the 13 Taibao, he is also a direct descendant of Li Yuan. Anna Shen and Cao Yuan are classmates, but they are also direct descendants of Li Yuan. Zhou Ranran was considered a direct descendant of Li Yuan, but he was also an aborigine. Gu Dongsheng asked, when can the Presbyterian Council submit its application? It can be done within 3 years. After 3 years, the Spark project will be officially launched. At that time, I will summon all the adults in the entire family who can come and make a fortune in public. Divination. Some people felt upset after hearing this. And Gu Dongsheng knew that Li Yuan's hexagram was probably prepared for his death. It doesn't matter whether it's useful or not, what's important is that someone believes in it. You even have to believe it. Thinking about what happened during the day, Gu Dongsheng suddenly realized that Li Yuan probably didn't want to beat those people at all, but just to increase his credibility in divination. The real last move is hidden here. The 3 years set by Li Yuan were just right for Gu Dongsheng. He was just 46 years old at that time, and so was Li Yuan. A project that will officially start in 3 years is now in preparation. After a while, Li Yuan entered the second project. There is another thing this year, that is, the family foundation has not distributed dividends for several years, so we will take the opportunity to distribute it this year. Next, the family foundation will be directly merged into the federation, regardless of the proportion. This time, the total funds to be distributed are 3.6 trillion. Each share will receive 3.6 billion. At the beginning, one copy was only worth 50 million. End of chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 404. 86-year-old Li Wanhe sits under the grape trellis in his yard. He planted it the year Jiangshu left. 21 years have passed in the blink of an eye, and now it has covered the entire yard. Jiangshu never came back, but he could see Jiangshu every day. On television, he saw Li Yuan coming out and asked, "When will Jiangshu come back?" Although there are many grandchildren and even great-grandchildren who are now 20 years old, they are not far away from getting married. But he always kept thinking about Jiangshu and Li Jingcheng. Li Jingcheng has come back very rarely in recent years, and the more he celebrates the new year, the busier he is. Basically, what I look forward to every year is that Lu Ling will go home with her husband and children on the second day of the Lunar New Year. And Li Yuan, who is 65 years old this year, although he looks about 40 or 50 years old, is actually already powerless in many things. He basically gave up all his desires 10 years ago and stayed at home to take care of his parents and children without caring about anything outside. He calculated the date and said, "I'll probably come back this year." After all, he told Gu Dongshen himself that the 21st year had arrived. Gu Dongshen's situation is not very good. He suffered a lot of injuries when he was young. As he got older, he began to suffer. Even with the best medical care in the world, recovery is difficult. All I can say is that he won't die that easily. With the current medical treatment, even if he is forced to live longer, he can still live for more than 100 years. Li Yuan used a few relatively mature products, otherwise, Even so, he didn't have the energy to take care of any business, and even the hosting of meetings every year was left to Chen Ji's second child, Chen Xian. Usually the older generation in the compound hold a small meeting privately, and then let the children host the meeting themselves. Hearing that Jiangshu would come back this year, Li Wanhe's cloudy eyes lit up. "Can you really come back? Then I have to get him some good things to keep." Li Yuan said, "Dad, don't let him make mistakes. He must be careful every step he takes in the future. Can anyone harm him in our house? We are not alone in our family, are we? Who knows if there may be competition behind the scenes. In a few years, when Jiangshu has established a firm footing, there will be no problem." Li Wanhe said, "How many years do I have to wait?" Li Yuan: "Damn, this old guy is stronger than anyone else. You are 86 years old and still work as a security guard every day. Who has the energy like you? As for my mother, Jo Wan, her health has begun to deteriorate in the past 2 years. Fortunately, she can move easily and has a dedicated medical team. If she can survive, she may be able to survive Gu Dongshen. Li Yuan is not afraid of making mistakes, he dares to do anything. I'm going out." Li Yuan was about to go find Gu Dongshen, but Li Wanhe shouted, "Who will cook when you go out?" There is still no nanny at his house, but there will always be someone who is free to help with cleaning. For example, Zhou Ranran, Qin Si or Shen Anna, Chen Ji, and retired Wen Yuxian are all regular customers. Next to Li Yuan, Xu Yanlin is currently busy with work. The biomedical team she is responsible for is becoming more and more popular as she gets older. Yuling is cooking. After Li Yuan finished speaking, Li Wanhe hurriedly said, "Forget it, I have to hold on until Zhang Shu comes back. I'll go to your Uncle Joe's house to have a meal." Li Yuan. Is it that scary? It is true that Zhang Yuling has no talent for cooking. After so many years, he is the only one in the world who dares to eat the dishes he has made. Of course, it was to protect Zhang Yuling's face, and the two made an agreement outside the court. You have to eat it even if it tastes bad. Li Wanhe couldn't stand it. He already had a poor appetite as he got older. If he had another unpalatable meal, he might not be able to eat for the next 3 days. Li Wanhe left in a hurry, and Zhou Wan happened to be away today too, going to attend the wedding of Luo's youngest grandson. Li Yuan's youngest child, born to Xu Yanlin, is just 20 years old this year. Because of the adjustment of the marriage age, you can now get married at the age of 20. That boy is getting married the day after tomorrow, and Li Yuan will also have to attend. Zhang Yuling walked out and saw Li Yuan still at the door, so he asked, "Aren't you ready to go out? Why haven't you left yet?" "Don't worry, I'm responsible for the food at home, you don't have to cook anymore." Li Yuan. Co-author, you still don't know your own lethality. In the past 10 years, Zhou Wan has stopped cooking because of her age, and Li Yuan took over the cooking power from her. Although the food I cooked was not particularly good, at least it did not affect the appetite of the family. I occasionally asked Zhou Ranran or Chen Ji to cook a few dishes to improve them. How about you go to Lao Gu's house with me? Zhang Yuling immediately said after hearing this, "Didn't you say we'll see the results today?" "Yes, go to Lao Gu's house. I told him about today 21 years ago. Then I'll go with you. Since you guys are talking about your business, I'll just go and have a meal." "Okay." So, the two of them walked towards Gu Dongshen's home together. On the way, Li Yuan asked, "Have you prepared anything for Gu Yu's child?" What should be prepared has been prepared a long time ago. In Zhang Shu's current situation, it is not appropriate to prepare anything else. Zhang Yuling was more anxious than Li Yuan. She hadn't seen Zhang Shu for too long, and it seemed like she suddenly lost a son. As she gets older, she is already 70 this year. Although she is in good health, Zhang Shu has never come back, so how can she not think about it? There was only one phone call a year. Every time she made a video call, she forced a smile, but as soon as the phone was hung up, she felt uncomfortable and burst into tears when she returned to the room. Well, there's no need to prepare too much. I'll call someone to clean the room tomorrow. The room in Li Yuan's home is a little bit insufficient now. Li Jingchen's 3 children will have 2 rooms, and Li Jingchen and his wife will also have 1 room. Then even if Wen Yuxian came over, he would have to be given a room. Wen Yuxian's 2 children would have to live elsewhere. There was really no place for them. After all, Zhang Shu's room definitely couldn't be moved. There were only a few rooms in the entire villa. There are only 8 rooms on the 3 floors. This is because his villa is relatively large, and other single-family houses have 6 rooms. If Zhang Shu comes back, Lu Ling's room will have to be tidied up for his children to live in. Hey, I've only seen those 2 children in videos, so I'm afraid they don't have any feelings for us. Zhang Yuling began to worry again. Li Jingchen's 3 children have been here since they were young and they recently left when they went to college. Zhang Shu married Gu Yu while he was in the army and never came back. Neither he nor Gu Dongshen gave them any help or financial support. Of course, Li Yuan must have it secretly, but no one knows what he did. When they arrived at Gu Dongshen's house, they were greeted by a nanny, and then Gu Dongshen, who looked a little weak, walked out of it. His frame is considered useless and he suffered too many injuries back then. However, he is a ruthless person and never shows it, and he is still very dignified at home. Lao Li and teacher Zhang are here. Zhang Yuling said, when you come to your house to have a meal, don't be stingy. Haha, I don't dare either. Gu Dongsheng had a vague premonition of Li Yuan's arrival. If true, that would be horrific. Li Yuan did what he said, for 21 years, exactly. He immediately arranged for someone to cook, and chatted about home affairs with Li Yuan and Zhang Yuling, but didn't talk about anything else. Zhang Yuling didn't want to hear it either. She was only interested in children. Following Li Yuan these years, I have learned too much, and now I don't even want to know. Many things were completely beyond her understanding. Li Yuan and Gu Dongsheng both looked like madmen. All of them are over 60 years old, and they spend all day calculating this and that. While eating, Li Yuan asked, "How is Shen Tianfu? We say we plan to come back this year, but we still have to see which way the wind blows. Let him come back, there will be no problem." It has been almost 50 years since Shen Tianfu ran away. In these 50 years, he has not seen his son once, and Li Yuan did not dare to let Shen Luo go abroad. Now Shen Luo's children have graduated from college, but Shen Tianfu still hasn't seen them. Now Shen Tianfu gave his position to Shen Anna's youngest son Shen Huan a few days ago, and he can return to China at any time. It's just that he's a little scared and has been putting it off until now. His body can hardly hold it anymore, and if he delays it for another 2 years, the road back to China will become a barrier for him. Then I'll inform him tomorrow. Li Yuan continued to ask, where are other places? How many people have gone out in these years? Gu Dongsheng thought for a while, more than 30 million have been arranged. After so many years, the total number must have expanded to more than 100 million. I can't calculate the specifics. I can only say that there is no shortage of people, no matter where. What about your strength? Can you protect yourself? I don't know the hell, and you didn't even ask. Gu Dongsheng was puzzled, so he arranged for his 4 sons to be outside and his 3 sons to be at home, but where was Li Yuan? Arrangements are made for more than a dozen sons to live abroad, but mostly daughters stay at home. He should have been involved in these matters in the first place. How could he be so clear about the specific situation? Li Yuan shook his head, I can't ask, just pretend I don't know. When Gu Dongsheng heard this, he didn't say anything. Li Yuan was right to be cautious. Something could happen to anyone, but nothing could happen to him and Jiangshu. If you ask, there will be traces left. Anyway, Chen Qi must know the specific situation, and Qin Si must also know it. Now the entire compound is undergoing business handover in all aspects, which may last for more than 10 years. This is also the rule set by Li Yuan. Don't be too old and still occupy a position. Retire when it's time. After all, every business involves the interests of everyone. After dinner, Zhang Yuling left. Li Yuan and Gu Dongsheng came to the film and television hall, sat on the sofa, and enjoyed the massage. At this time, the topic came to Jiangshu. Lao Li, tell me the truth, how did you get involved in this matter? Li Yuan said with a smile, do you need me to intervene? Are Cao Ping and Yao Yingsong messing around for nothing? You started planning it more than 40 years ago, when Jiangshu was just born. Li Yuan did not refute. He was indeed planning at that time because he had too much money. Within 5 years, I am going to do a big job. The strength accumulated over the years abroad can also be put to use. Gu Dongsheng looked shocked, is it really going to start? Otherwise, I have to give Jiangshu a gift, right? Gu Dongsheng wondered, are you so confident? I don't have any confidence at all. Jiangshu has many competitors. Li Yuan smiled and said nothing. Competitor? Jiangshu has never had a competitor, his only competitor is himself. After a while, Gu Dongsheng asked the 2 masseurs to go out, and he turned on the big screen. He glanced at the time and said, we still have to wait half an hour. Then wait slowly, just in time to talk about other things. What are you talking about? You want to see me make a fool of myself? It's been so many years, please let me go. Gu Dongshen was referring to Gu Man, the eldest daughter, and Zhang Shu were childhood sweethearts, but they ended up despising each other. Finally, Gu Man found Chen Qi's children, who were both big and silly. Chen Qi was so happy at first that he gave Gu Dongshen a lot of good things. Until now, when Gu Dongshen saw the son-in-law, he became so angry that he even looked down upon his grandson and granddaughter. Of course, it's just that I feel unhappy, and I still give you what you should give. After all, Gu Man has good abilities and skills now, but he is the stupid son-in-law who is raised like a little daughter-in-law by Gu Man. He cooks and washes clothes at home every day. Li Yuan shook his head. He was not interested in eating this melon. It's just that when we get together on weekdays, we can't talk about too many things, so we bring this matter up as a topic of conversation. What I mean is, let your children cooperate, and I will not give them less than they deserve. Gu Dongshen's expression became serious. In fact, no matter who has power, it will expand. Besides, Gu Dongshen's children have never been in China, and they are not very familiar with Li Yuan. Unlike the few children he left behind, they had been brought up by Li Yuan since childhood and had natural respect for Li Yuan. The 4 overseas ones, no. They only know that they are very powerful and their father is very powerful. Who is Li Yuan? Do not know. He thought for a while and said, Gu Zheng is in charge of the family now. He has a better relationship with those younger brothers. I will immediately arrange for him to go abroad to take charge of this matter. By the way, I will bring those 4 guys back and let you take care of them. Give me an education. Li Yuan nodded. That's okay. It's not that I'm making excuses, but this matter is very important. The economic cycle has arrived again. We can't leave Zhang Shukai in such a mess and leave him with such a mess. We have to give him a breakthrough no matter what. I understand, we have been friends for so many years, and I still don't know you. Sigh, I miss Gu Yu too. This stupid daughter must have suffered a lot in these years. Li Yuan smiled. This is Gu Yu. She has a good attitude and is relaxed. If it were anyone else, she would have collapsed emotionally. Why do I feel that that guy Jiangshu has been planning this thing since he was a child? Huh? Ha 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 ha. Li Yuan laughed. At this moment, a voice came. The 30th. Jiangshu. Due to some things, this chapter has been delayed for several days. I sincerely apologize to everyone. The whole story ends here. From the time the book was published to now, it has taken a total of 7 months and nearly 1.5 million words, which is beyond my psychological expectations. I wanted to write 1 million words from the beginning, so I didn't plan that many plots at all. I can only say thank you for your support. I have been able to reach this point. The first book I officially wrote at the starting point is finished. It is true that there are still many things that have not been written. Firstly, it is inconvenient to write, and secondly, it is impossible to write. So far, the story is quite complete, but because the early plot progressed too fast, the characters were poorly developed and seemed very rough. I will improve this in the new book. The title of the new book is I Stealed Other People's Tickets to Rebirth. I changed my pen name. It is now at the top of the new book list. If you like it, you can check it out. A thank you list will be posted tomorrow. Happy New Year in advance to all book friends. End of chapter. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 405. It's over. In fact, the performance of this book is quite good, but because the foreshadowing at the beginning was not enough, in the middle and later stages, except for the protagonist, there was no need for other character attributes to exist, and the plot inevitably collapsed. But as long as I am willing to water, there is still a lot that can be written, but it is a bit unethical. Although you don't have to subscribe, and I can trick some people into joining with the previous article, I still want you to read the story early to avoid scolding me behind my back. I really want to thank you all, and I am very grateful to the friends who supported this book. It was you who took my first book to a level it never deserved. Of course, I earned the money and it has nothing to do with you. I will bear this kind of hard work for you. In any case, this book is finished, just like a person's life has come to an end. Throw flowers. If I say that I want to be friends with you, you will definitely think it is nonsense. You will definitely say that this grandson is just interested in the money in our pockets. Haha, that's actually true. Who doesn't want to have some fans? Who doesn't want to have readers' support as long as they open a book? Just like the protagonist Li Yuan, what supported him to the last step? In fact, it is desire. People are born with desires. If you have 5 million, you want 10 million, you want 50 million. No one will be truly satisfied unless he is the most powerful in the world. And when that time comes, he will think about staying strong. While I still have some energy, I still want to have a second spring. The new book was written at the end of the previous chapter, so I won't say more to avoid annoying everyone. This time I mainly want to thank everyone. I spent 2 hours sorting out the list. Due to various reasons, I only sorted out the top 500 fans. I have omitted some, and I apologize to everyone. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to book friend 2017012408221763. This is really the only wild leader we have had in all these years of writing books. I was so excited that day, but unfortunately I have never been able to communicate with him. I would also like to thank He Dada who loves reading for really spending your money. Also, behind the glitz, the vicissitudes of life, when I sent a thank you list, he directly rewarded me with 10,000 book coins. There are also several guys who are active in my new book, I have seen them all. Including Nightmare of Remnants 17-2 Back to Zero Donzing Yuensky The Lost Myth I Will Die If I Don't Update It Just 100 million See Tomorrow Across the Mountains There are two things in the world 80k to wait. Forgive my statistics for not being too complete. The following is the general list. I really want to thank you all for taking this crappy book to a level it does not belong to, and thank you for your book coins. Grateful. God's Time and Space. The Best in the Mountains. MHK Total. Eggs Crackle. Asuna, Be Strong. LTTTC. Tomorrow, across the mountains, the world will be blurry. Your heart is a small window tightly closed. Hamburger WH. Waiting for the wind. ZZZYY. A person who seeks but does not get happiness. Rabbit who loves diving. The cold stars and the cold moon freeze into the bones. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Lynch in the wind. Blood-stained rivers and mountains Ho Cheng. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 90. A cloner. Ghost head. Strong deer. I have a thought. Long Bao. Xioxy's little follower. Memories can't come back. Sally. Can only be a book friend 0128. Healing blue. A mountain of books and a stone. Zayu. Jo. Nothing to disturb. Lord of Counterwar. My Kapok tree. Find the future. Fire. Very romantic. River map of the world. Oat. Flowers bloom in the sea. Alligator. He-Min. Undead natural disaster. Bring Brother Kong. The wind took off. I feel bitter in my heart. Birth and death. Say good night in a dream. Computer for frying fish. Bean cultivation in Nanshan for 3,000 years. A la carte barrow. Starson. Dream about infinity. People from the north of the city are here. That piece of cloud. Drink boiled water every day. MR19. Never satisfied. PD Book Fairy. Number 7,446,800 is ready. Cheney Chen. AEA. Fish Pond. Greedy for your smile. Kong Hao Kimeng. Tao is endless. Zhang Xian. The silver bracelet on your hand. Lao Shiu. Brother De Hao's little follower. L Maximus. Dangling Duck. Xioxin Xinyu. KKKKKK 2019. Crimson Cardigan. CZ 1314. Thailandigo. Crazy and unconscious. 6921 Key. Come on, gig. Groundhog 126. Fu Xianqing. Cherry blossoms and frost. Kind-hearted. Brother Xiu Xiu. Mr. Nyomi. Zidong Old Ghost. Atraz. Lank People. Tianya Water. Written Pills. Don't make me laugh. Lord of Mao's Hung City. Make money and marry a wife. Q9157. Eagle Warrior Wolf. Chen Yu Fan's father. Honest and reliable boy. Yam Flying F. Zhang Leshi. Silently. Moving like a crazy rabbit. Searching for Bai-Zi in mountains and seas. I want to stuff a little doll. Epidemic. Morris Himaharika. Chenchin Jun. Yu Fialong. Krusha. Rui I. Silent Story. Shu Negative Rain. Ben San Pig. Nerdy Bookworm. Am I a book lover? The Soul of Chivalry. Zi does not say anything. Xiao Chen doesn't grow taller. Not in the pool. Cheese China. Helm. Lost Dog. Morning Smale. It's time to sleep. Renfang Hua. Look up at the lights. The motherland is gone. Henji 1230. Top secret big data. Coffee bean Zhonyuan. Listen to the wind. Nadiko. Write a love letter. Think about what happens to waste. General Zioki. Sky blue night misty rain. Ho ho ha hey. Sanal phone so. Drinking alone under the moon 7. Lonely laughing. Cat sleeping in. Chen Fiajan. Shura deity. G. Zianson. Great Taoist master. Il Ramos. A longer name will make it less likely to be hit. Songer. Happy life. Dragon tiger ghost. Yezayu. Saw it and forgot. Ziobai is the meow king. One gun does not fire. Pullman snake. Anonymous. 8 duck braised. Let go 1. Chai Gao Judo. Wu Tian Hasheng. Once upon a time there was Bandle City. Skidrake. Are you afraid of ghosts? We are all stardust. Caso Solo. The little fairy uncle. A bit of cold light arrived first and then the gun came out like a dragon. White dragon fruit. Ancient city Mingqing. The stranger is disgusted. Forgot the name. Yakumo's purple, blue, and orange Shikigami. Flying flower stone. Taking aim at book friends. Honking Z. What you said doesn't count. Leaf maple. Meat lion. Just 100 million C. The adult world is not easy. Vaikslolo. Kingyun chasing love. Southwind owl. Book lovers who don't want to spend money. Mo Shui Hui forbidden. A seasoned person who loves reading books. Don't you know who I am? Junruo Jian. Zero Finger Zero. Nihil 2012. Thinking a little too much. Flying Pig 678. A group of Harmony 258. The names are all gone. Happy. Happy. Being silent is not golden. Falling into the city at night one. A thread of love lingers. Imbead. Passers-by in white clothes, as cold as ice. Dogkin Hu. My concubine is not a demon. Zhongjin Ran. Yangtian Feng. The eighth child of King Kong Gourd. Sup the widower. I can't think of a good name. Gosid. Unbounded traveler. TTE 1945. One leaf Nagyaki. Basic medical student. Crossing the river with eagle sauce. Mumu Ganyan. Little God. Yellow little daddy. Wuhan's number one deep bird. Brother Jade face of Fu. King is like a tree. Grapefruit drinks water. Star 77,777. Talking 123. I can't read novels anymore. Andy Tyrone. Good Jen. Thick fog knows the autumn morning air is moist. Confused young boy. Dr. Yeyu. This is Shining. The sad song of late love. Yeah Fei Hua. Crazy and cool one is amazing. Not lewd but not lewd. Moyu. A bunch of thieves. Menjioti. Tao de Guanren. Dimly lit place. Loading ing. No idea. Magic sky star traces. Horseless cavalry. Alao large. Silver-haired flat-chested beautiful girl. As if made in heaven. Tian Xiaoshen. Suhyun. Come back against the wind, breeze blows the moon. Little cutie passing by. Quan Shen Gong. W52XJL. Seafood recipe without shrimps. Late 70s and early 80s. On time. I love Aikyo the most. Date in Tokyo. Book friends 202208121838386149. Book friend 1701080430094546. Book friends 202309042054343024. Book friends 201811231942222843. Book friends 20220427043807807815. Book friends 202204271818345997. Book friends 201710110938074007. Book friend 1510202100360067. Book friends 202301051900584494. Book friends 202204282127484749. Book friend 1105270545459222. Book friends 201702162335332234. Book friends 2019042603333529. Book friends 202305080946033319. Book friends 20210301106531601724. Book friend 1201202359479776. Book friends 2019040719122375. Book friends 201811081500290029. Book friend 1606290938462223. Book friends 202008081752054228. Book friends 202304152314555573. Book friends 202310090940233959. Book friends 202003301904377730. Book friends 2021101413524891. Book friends 20210301105360392838. Book Friends 202208222159016664. Book Friend 202303311855247771. Book Friends 202208031925382338. Book Friends 202209231024173777. Book Friends 202209122329533396. Book Friends 202208151541342006. Book Friends 202012132123555737. Book Friends 202008261052525888. Book Friends 202205132332434431. Book Friends 202208062329329776. Book Friends 202220204122652522. Book Friends 202304011832111744. Book Friends 202007122049447779. Book Friends 201912221334127745. Book Friends 202207280947092001. Book Friends 20210301106472478030. Book Friend 1503191935525148. Book Friends 202302141452401881. Book Friends 202206230917231884. Book Friend 12041119531235. Book Friend 1104011807494888. Book Friends 202306021019358861. Book Friends 20221212012011158550. Book Friends 202203212231352447. Book Friends 202207231842376628. Book Friends 2023012917380071. Book Friends 2018071721494295. Book Friends 202204282325299883. Book Friends 2018120623064824. Reader 2021020911738363331336. Book Friends 201708080712353337. Book Friends 202306211818562333. Book Friends 202210302000857281. Book Friend 161106135239864864. Book Friends 20210207150848485119. Book Friends 2023091711285710. Book Friends 2022121114033228. Book Friend 2023112807145510. Book Friends 2023101716501669. Book Friend 202210281200570061. Book Friends 2022091823205420. Book Friends 202209021853218110. Book Friends 2022081208403081. Book Friends 202207211021408082. Book Friends 2020091408550165. Book Friends 201907221505253448. Book Friends 2019011216243626. Book Friends 2017041708464957. Book Friend 16030523454158. Book Friend 1305052040200701. Book Friend 1111061241444919. Book Friends 202007221643243939. Book Friends 20210301106601761768. Book Friend 1603151932035004. Book Friends 202203282238247003. Book Friends 202306120136085002. Book Friend 202307030601599947. Book Friends 202306151250146004. Book Friends 202302271318403006. Book Friends 202211080422270012. Book Friends 202209161836191131. Book Friends 202209130835483114. Book Friends 202206091031281777. Book Friends 2022040900205650. Book Friends 202007121040186696. Book Friends 2020040620385448. Book Friends 201810090933328858. Book Friend 1603151057082441. Book Friends 2022042910474826. Book Friends 20210301106552822326. Book Friends 202105221834584888. Book Friends 2022080204421795. Book Friends 2019100422175297. Book Friends 202107191327044091. Book Friends 202306211702451227. Book Friends 202201140035073774. Book Friends 202310131622100723. Book Friends 202308092020333435. Book Friend 2023070412431845. Book Friends 202306091121222161. Book Friends 202109220116289661. Book Friends 202008161447497762. Book Friend 1210111748491337. Book Friends 202104180125585596. Book Friends 2020091010464271. Book Friends 202207160111222945. Book Friends 201901152145365007. Book Friends 201901111842073118. Book Friends 201707242106342239. Book Friends 202110172219256229. Book Friends 202206201018377791. Book Friend 202310261958476004. Book Friends 202004011837254548. Book Friends 202312061405422268. Book Friends 2022070401002614. Book Friends 202210191935063009. Book Friends 2020021511544828. Book Friends 201811072101297666. Book Friends 2023050904514610. Book Friend 1411131724252221. Book Friends 202211201206403447. Book Friends 2022091417522440. Book Friend 202106172342022726. Book Friends 202208052207077791. Book Friends 202004060251111577. Book Friends 20180103135135102801. Book Friends 20210301104133561086. Book Friend 1612031629523115. Book Friends 202205121739171120. Book Friend 1610011730142889. Book Friends 20210301106462317646. Book Friends 202301091236573449. Book Friend 202308232108311727. Book Friends 202210030652066972. Book Friend 2023060905550891. Book Friends 201812132311027994. Book Friends 20210301105269486092. Book Friends 202105102251392336. Book Friends 202207231810573323. Book Friends 202304081612044112. Book Friends 202210101512327001. Book Friends 201905241310132121. Book Friend 1504140544127550. Book Friends 202205302038060043. Book Friends 20210301106549605610. Book Friends 202304271551293881. Book Friend 1406102146422737. Book Friend 160323120130130252. Book Friends 202308191016066064. Book Friends 202211221347213444. Book Friends 202104121918333713. Book Friends 201906161159497497. Book Friends 201711160140462331. Book Friends 202104101817333876. Book Friend 33021205722639. Book Friend 1505092002451447. Book Friend 202311021446166048. Reader 16268149051045683220. Book Friends 20210301106613356240. Book Friends 202102141001596668. Book friend 202311290030345550. Book friends 201906272116599079. Book friend 1612081024300814. Book friends 202203220756390016. Book friends 202102232355141102. Book friends 20210301105369677172. Book friends 202209020656588834. Book friends 2022041409150840. Book friends 201802240842444957. Book friends 201708040320074442. Book friends 201709291356525758. Book friend 202306240422554956. Book friends 201806242146444900. Book friends 2023040917065486. Book friends 202101119111435556. Book friends 201810100506233320. Book friend 1607261725311155. Book friends 2019062212200535. Book friends 202210161436182228. Book friends 202004130741291880. Book friends 2021013013,3051790. Book friends 202206292153046002. Book friends 2020051121141896. Book friends 20210301106498046200. Book friends 2022042913475370. Book friends 201808181755311142. Book friends 202205130740278227. Book friend 1609271016133375. Book friend 1204261131149992. Book friend 1403082249044012. Readers 13772229226761216000. Book friends 202303291757514443. Book friend 202306291839376558. Book friends 20220909014924924369. Book friends 201808032221534005. Book friends 2020051714472887. Book friend 202312212200355224. Book friends 202004061942097776. Book friends 2019081523071827. Book friend 202304261542357003. Book friends 202204241418044972. Book friends 202201281531176000. Book friend 1605260204494133. Book friends 20200904021212192000. Book friend 1604161919477771. Book friends 202209211930000584. Book friends 202212041903122823. Book friend 1511180009156118. Book friends 20220325230052414. Reader 1479037955149406208. Book friends 20200404123802256. Book friends 20221201030642379. Book friend 16072121172985. Book friend 33021204479792. Book friends 20220327101355673. Book friends 20220319203659234. Book friends 20210427010721400. Book friends 20170502172631262. Book friends 20220815231304625. Book friends 20231215155137533. Book friends 20230402181209665. Book friends 20220508231452344. Book friends 2021030110414378328. Book friends 202103011066062555590. Book friends 20230625131246484. Book friends 20170722185334497. Book friend 20230510222205190. I still have to shamelessly post the link to the new book at the bottom. If you have any unused monthly tickets, throw them into my new book, haha. End of this chapter.